Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to introduce our presentation on the Masonic audiobook library. Today's focus is on the spiritual science of Masonry, transmutation, regeneration, and immortality. We'll explore the fascinating concepts of inner transformation and the pursuit of eternal life. Over the next few moments, we'll delve into how Masonry offers a path to spiritual awakening and everlasting growth. Let's get started. Today, we'll explore the fascinating world of Masonry, starting with the concept of transmutation. Transmutation, in this context, refers to the idea of transforming oneself, spiritually and morally, much like the alchemists sought to turn base metals into gold. It's about personal growth and evolution. Moving on, we'll delve into the theme of regeneration, which highlights the cyclical nature of life and renewal, how old ideas and practices are continually reborn and reinterpreted through time. Then, we touch on the notion of immortality, not just in a literal sense, but as the enduring legacy of Masonry's teachings and principles that transcend individual lifetimes. We'll also look at the mystical aspects of Masonry, which involve esoteric knowledge and symbolism that point to deeper spiritual truths. Additionally, we'll consider African Masonry, exploring its unique history and contributions within the broader Masonic tradition. To deepen our understanding, we'll include a comparative study, examining similarities and differences across various traditions and cultures. Finally, we'll wrap up with a conclusion that ties all these themes together, emphasizing how Masonry's concepts of transformation, renewal, and spirituality remain relevant today and connect to our overall journey of self-discovery. Let's delve into the core concepts that underpin Masonry, starting with the idea of transmutation. This is not just about physical transformation, but a deeper process of spiritual and moral evolution. It speaks to the notion of turning the base elements of ourselves into something more refined and enlightened. Moving on, the theme of regeneration is closely connected. It's about renewal, rebirth, and the continuous cycle of growth that Masonry encourages. Then we arrive at the concept of immortality. Here, Masonry explores the idea that our actions, virtues, and the knowledge we gain can leave a lasting legacy beyond our physical lives. It's about striving for something eternal through moral and spiritual development. Next, we consider the mystical aspects of Masonry. These are the hidden, symbolic truths that invite us to look beyond the surface and seek deeper understanding about the universe and our place within it. We then shift focus to African Masonry, which offers a unique perspective rooted in rich cultural traditions and historical contexts. Exploring this helps us appreciate the diversity and universality of Masonic principles across different societies. Finally, the comparative study ties these elements together, allowing us to see common themes and differences that enrich our understanding of Masonry globally. All these points connect back to the overarching theme of transformation, enlightenment, and the quest for spiritual truth that defines Masonry as a universal pursuit. Masonry's historical background traces its origins back to ancient stoneworking guilds, which were essential in building some of the most impressive structures of their time. Over the centuries, these guilds evolved into a more symbolic fraternity, emphasizing moral and spiritual development. They adopted esoteric teachings and rituals that serve to deepen the members' understanding and personal growth. Today, Masonry is not just about craftsmanship. It's about a shared journey toward enlightenment and moral integrity. The key principles of Masonry, transmutation, regeneration, and immortality highlight its focus on personal transformation. Through symbolic rituals, members work on transmuting their inner selves, aiming for renewal and a higher state of being. Ultimately, Masonry promotes a philosophy of continuous personal growth, emphasizing moral development and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. It's about collective effort and shared wisdom, guiding individuals toward achieving a kind of immortality through moral and spiritual excellence. This all ties into the broader theme of the presentation, highlighting the transformative power of esoteric traditions and spiritual development. Let's begin by exploring the role of mysticism. First, what exactly is mysticism? Well, it's the pursuit of transcendent experiences and direct communion with the divine. This means seeking a personal, immediate connection with a higher power, often through profound insights into the nature of reality, the self, and the universe itself. Mysticism isn't just about belief, it's about experiencing and understanding these deeper truths firsthand. Now, when we look at mystical traditions within Masonry, we see a rich intertwining. Masonry emphasizes spiritual enlightenment, which is about awakening to higher truths and understanding our place in the cosmos. It also focuses on inner transformation, changing ourselves from within to become more enlightened beings. Additionally, there's this ancient quest for immortality, not just in a literal sense, but through the lasting impact of wisdom and moral development. These traditions are reflected in symbolic teachings and rituals, which encode ancient wisdom in a way that encourages personal growth and spiritual insight. So, you can see how Masonry's mystical elements serve as a pathway toward deeper understanding, connecting individual transformation with universal truths, fitting seamlessly into our overall exploration of esoteric knowledge and spiritual evolution. Now let's take a closer look at slide 6. Here, we explore the fascinating concept of Masonry and its symbolic themes. First, we have the idea of transmutation, which is about transformation, both inner and outer, representing personal growth and evolution. Moving on, the theme of regeneration emphasizes renewal and rebirth, highlighting how Masonry encourages us to continually refine ourselves. The notion of immortality connects to the timeless nature of Masonry's teachings, suggesting that its principles transcend physical life. Then, we delve into the mystical aspects of Masonry, uncovering its esoteric symbols and spiritual dimensions that invite deeper understanding. We also examine African Masonry, which has its unique traditions and contributions, enriching the broader narrative. To deepen our understanding, a comparative study helps us see similarities and differences across various Masonic traditions worldwide. Finally, these themes collectively underscore Masonry's enduring relevance, inspiring personal transformation and universal ideals. All of these points tie back to the core theme of the presentation, how Masonry symbolizes a journey of inner and outer enlightenment that spans cultures and ages. Understanding transmutation is really about grasping a process of deep spiritual change. It's the idea that our basic instincts and raw nature can be refined and elevated into a higher state of consciousness. This transformation isn't just about personal growth, it's about regeneration and gaining a profound understanding of immortality. Historically, transmutation has roots in ancient alchemy, where it involved turning base metals into noble ones like gold. But symbolically, it mirrors our spiritual journey, transforming our lower, more primal aspects into qualities that are noble and enlightened. These ideas have been woven through mystical traditions and philosophical teachings for centuries. In the context of Masonic rituals, transmutation takes on a special meaning. It symbolizes our personal transformation, our journey from ignorance to enlightenment. It's about cultivating virtues and qualities that are essential for achieving a kind of spiritual immortality. So, when we think about the overall theme of this presentation, transmutation is central. It's the process that connects our inner development with the broader quest for eternal truth and understanding. It reminds us that through conscious effort and spiritual refinement, we can evolve into higher beings. Now, let's explore the processes of transmutation, starting with psychological transformation. This is about reshaping our thoughts and emotions, really looking inward to foster growth. It's through introspection and self-awareness that we can elevate our consciousness and move toward a higher state of being. Next, we have spiritual alchemy, which is about transforming the self through inner work. Think of it as a personal journey of purification and growth, where the goal is enlightenment, ultimately reaching a state of spiritual immortality. Finally, the symbolic representations play a crucial role. They illustrate how base elements are transformed into higher forms, reflecting the deeper spiritual growth we seek. These symbols embody the pursuit of immortality, a core teaching within Masonry. Together, these processes highlight how transformation isn't just about change on the surface, but about profound inner evolution, aligned with the broader themes of enlightenment and eternal progress. let's take a closer look at the introduction to Masonry. Here, we explore the core ideas that underpin this ancient craft, focusing on its symbolic and spiritual significance. The concept of transmutation is central. It's about transformation, not just of materials, but of the individual soul. We see this theme of regeneration woven throughout, highlighting the ongoing process of renewal and growth that Masonry encourages. The notion of immortality is also key. It reflects the idea that the true essence of a Mason transcends physical life, reaching into the eternal. When we delve into the mystical aspects of Masonry, we uncover a rich layer of symbolism, secret teachings, and esoteric knowledge that have captivated practitioners for centuries. Moving beyond the Western perspective, African Masonry offers a unique and profound contribution to the global dialogue, emphasizing cultural traditions and spiritual practices specific to the continent. Finally, in our comparative study, we aim to understand the similarities and differences across various Masonic traditions worldwide. All these points come together to reinforce the overarching theme of this presentation: Masonry as a timeless pursuit of spiritual enlightenment and personal transformation. Let's delve into the idea of regeneration. When we talk about regeneration, we're referring to a process of renewal and transformation. It's about more than just physical change. It emphasizes the spiritual rebirth of individuals through self-discovery, moral development, and the pursuit of higher consciousness within Masonry. This concept is central because it highlights how personal growth aligns with our spiritual journey. Looking at historical perspectives, we see that many cultures have embraced the idea of regeneration. Across different times and places, it's been viewed as a vital process of renewal, rebirth, and spiritual evolution. These elements are essential in human development and deepen our understanding of existence, showing that transformation is a universal human experience. Finally, connecting this to our human experience, regeneration mirrors our ongoing journey of transformation. It's about growth, renewal, and the continuous quest for higher knowledge and spiritual awakening. Throughout our lives, we are constantly evolving, and this pursuit of higher understanding is at the heart of the Masonic path. It's a powerful reminder that our journey is never complete, and renewal is always possible. Let's talk about regeneration in Masonry. Rituals play a crucial role here, serving as a symbolic journey of personal transformation. They often represent death and rebirth, which might sound intense, but in this context, it's about inner renewal and spiritual growth. Through initiation and strong community bonds, these rituals help us foster that sense of rebirth, pushing us toward becoming better versions of ourselves. Now, if we look at the symbolism, regeneration reflects the cyclical nature of life. Just as seasons change, so do our personal states. Death in this sense isn't an end, but a necessary stage for spiritual rebirth and transformation. It mirrors the journey toward enlightenment and even immortality, encouraging us to see challenges as opportunities for growth. Most importantly, regeneration emphasizes ongoing personal development. It's about self-transformation, building resilience, continuously improving, and nurturing our spiritual and moral selves. This process is at the heart of Masonry's teachings and aligns perfectly with the broader theme of lifelong growth and enlightenment. Let's delve into the introduction to Masonry, where we'll explore its core principles and symbols. Moving on, we'll examine the concept of transmutation, which represents the transformative process at the heart of Masonic teachings. Then, we'll look at the theme of regeneration, highlighting how Masonry emphasizes renewal and rebirth, both spiritually and morally. Next is the notion of immortality, a fascinating aspect that connects Masonic beliefs to the idea of enduring legacy beyond physical life. We'll also touch on the mystical aspects of Masonry, revealing its hidden symbolism and spiritual mysteries. Following that, we'll explore African Masonry, understanding its unique traditions and contributions within the global Masonic landscape. Then, we'll undertake a comparative study to see how different Masonic practices and philosophies relate across cultures. Finally, we'll wrap up with the conclusion, tying all these themes together and reflecting on their significance in the broader context of Masonic knowledge and personal growth. Let's explore the concept of understanding immortality and how it varies across different perspectives and cultures. Immortality is perceived in many ways. Some cultures see it as a spiritual continuation that transcends physical life, while others focus on leaving a legacy through our actions that persists beyond death. Mysticism, on the other hand, often views immortality as an eternal return to the source, emphasizing a cyclical or timeless nature of existence. When we think about immortality, it suggests an eternal essence that exists beyond our physical bodies. This idea naturally leads us into philosophical questions about identity, what makes us who we are, our purpose in life, and the moral implications of living forever. In the context of Masonic views, immortality is closely tied to the belief in the soul's eternal nature. Freemasonry emphasizes personal responsibility in our spiritual growth and highlights that our journey toward enlightenment continues beyond physical death. This perspective encourages us to focus on moral and spiritual development, knowing that our true essence endures. Connecting all these points to the broader theme of our presentation, understanding these diverse views helps us appreciate the depth and complexity of the concept of immortality. It's not just about eternal life itself, but about what it signifies for our identity, morality, and spiritual evolution. Let's explore how immortality is represented in Masonic teachings. First, we see symbolic representations that emphasize the idea of an eternal soul, resurrection themes, and the transformative journey towards enlightenment. These symbols reflect the deep connection between life, death, and spiritual renewal, highlighting that our journey doesn't end with physical death, but continues in a spiritual sense. Next, Masonic teachings teach us that death is more of a transformation than an ending. They encourage us to view it as a step towards personal growth and moral integrity, guiding us closer to spiritual immortality. It's about evolving and becoming better, knowing that our true essence persists beyond the physical realm. Finally, there's a strong emphasis on personal interpretation. In Masonry, immortality is seen as something each individual can shape through their spiritual growth and moral actions. By living with integrity and striving for enlightenment, we pave the way for a continued existence beyond death. All these concepts tie back to the overall theme, that our spiritual journey is ongoing, and through understanding and growth, we can achieve a form of eternal life. Now, let's delve into the introduction to Masonry. Masonry has a rich history rooted in symbolism and spiritual teachings that go beyond just building stones. At its core, it's about transformation and personal growth. Moving on, the concept of transmutation is central. It's about turning base qualities into noble ones, much like the alchemical process. This idea ties into the theme of regeneration, which emphasizes renewal and rebirth, both spiritually and morally. Next, we explore the notion of immortality, how Masonry encourages the pursuit of eternal truths and values that transcend physical life. The mystical aspects of Masonry are deeply intertwined with these themes, often involving secret rites and symbolic rituals that point toward higher understanding and enlightenment. When we look at African Masonry, we see unique expressions of these universal themes, shaped by cultural contexts and traditions. This naturally leads us into a comparative study, examining similarities and differences across various Masonic practices worldwide. Finally, we will conclude by tying all these ideas together, emphasizing how Masonry's core principles of transformation, regeneration, and spiritual immortality continue to inspire and guide practitioners today. Let's explore the fascinating world of mysticism within Masonry. When we talk about the definition and importance of mysticism here, we're referring to how Masonry incorporates mystical elements that focus on inner transformation. These elements help us develop a deeper spiritual understanding, which is essential not only for personal growth, but also in the larger quest for immortality. This is achieved through shared knowledge and symbolism that connect us to something greater. Moving on to common themes, Masonry emphasizes transformation through symbolism and initiatory practices. These aren't just rituals, they serve as tools to guide us towards spiritual enlightenment. You'll notice that themes like regeneration and the quest for immortality are central, reflecting a universal mystical pursuit, one that's about rebirth and eternal life through spiritual evolution. Finally, when we consider the pathways to understanding, Masonry's mystical aspects reveal how we can pursue spiritual growth. This involves inner reflection, taking time to look inward, and engaging in symbolic rituals that are designed to elevate our consciousness. These pathways encourage us to seek enlightenment as a way to achieve regeneration and, ultimately, immortality. All of these points tie back into the overarching theme of the presentation, which explores how Masonry is not just about external symbols and traditions, but about a profound inner journey toward enlightenment and eternal life. Let's delve into Masonic mysticism. First, we see that symbols like the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, and the beehive are more than just images. They represent moral guidance, divine wisdom, and collective industry. These symbols reflect deeper spiritual truths and mysteries within Masonry, serving as visual tools that guide members on their spiritual journey. Next, we look at ritual practices. Masonic rituals are rich with symbolic gestures and storytelling structures that help facilitate spiritual awakening. These practices are designed not just as ceremonies, but as pathways to personal transformation and the pursuit of higher consciousness, all within a mystical tradition that emphasizes inner growth. Finally, personal experiences in Masonic mysticism often bring profound insights. Members typically undergo transformative rituals and report a deepened connection to universal truths. These experiences foster spiritual growth and enlightenment, reinforcing the idea that Masonry is a journey of inner discovery and universal understanding. Altogether, these elements, symbols, rituals, and personal insights, intertwine to create a comprehensive spiritual path that aligns with the broader themes of enlightenment and mystical pursuit in Masonry. Let's explore the introduction to Masonry and its deeper meanings. First, we have the concept of transmutation, which is really about transformation, how materials and even individuals can undergo profound change through the craft. Moving on, the theme of regeneration highlights renewal and rebirth, emphasizing that Masonry is not just about building structures, but about fostering growth and new beginnings. Then there's the notion of immortality, which ties into the idea that the values and wisdom passed down through Masonry can transcend time, giving a sense of enduring legacy. We also delve into the mystical aspects of Masonry, which involve esoteric knowledge and spiritual symbolism that connect us to higher truths. When we look at African Masonry, we see unique cultural expressions and practices that enrich the broader understanding of this tradition. A comparative study allows us to appreciate the similarities and differences across various traditions, deepening our insight into Masonry's universal themes. In conclusion, all these points come together to reinforce that Masonry is much more than physical construction. It's a spiritual and philosophical journey that aims at personal and collective transformation. This overview sets the stage for understanding the profound and multifaceted nature of Masonry as a universal tradition. Let's explore the historical roots of African Masonry. Ancient African Masonry is deeply rooted in both spiritual and architectural traditions. It emphasizes the importance of community values, reverence for ancestors, and symbols that reflect ideas of regeneration and immortality, which are central themes in many African cultures. Native African cultures have significantly influenced Masonry through their rich symbolism, communal rituals, and spiritual practices. These elements foster a unique interpretation of concepts like transmutation and regeneration, emphasizing a deep connection to the cosmos and the cycle of life and death. Furthermore, African Masonry doesn't exist in isolation. It incorporates traditional values while also integrating global Masonic practices. This blending highlights shared spiritual principles that promote transformation, renewal, and a collective pursuit of immortality across different cultures and traditions. To sum up, we see a fascinating evolution from ancient traditions through indigenous influences, and finally to a broader, more universal practice that continues to embody the enduring themes of spiritual rebirth and eternal life. let's explore the spiritual practices in African Masonry. African Masonry features unique rituals and ceremonies that focus on fostering community unity, spiritual growth, and honoring ancestors. These practices are designed to facilitate personal transformation while deepening our connection to the divine. The symbolism used in African Masonry is rich and intertwined with ancestral elements, nature, and cosmic forces. This symbolism not only reflects cultural identity, but also promotes spiritual renewal, creating a profound link between the individual and the universe. Additionally, African Masonry has had a significant impact on global Masonic practices. Its deep spiritual traditions, symbolic rituals, and emphasis on community have enriched the worldwide landscape of Masonry. These distinctive rituals and symbols are vital in understanding how African traditions contribute to the broader Masonic world, highlighting the importance of cultural diversity and spiritual depth in our shared journey. Now, let's delve into the introduction to Masonry. Masonry is a rich tradition that encompasses much more than just building. It's deeply rooted in symbolism and spiritual growth. Moving on, we have the concept of transmutation, which is about transformation, both of the materials used in building and of ourselves as individuals seeking enlightenment. This idea ties directly into the theme of regeneration, renewing and revitalizing the inner self through knowledge and practice. Next, we explore the notion of immortality. Masonry often symbolizes the pursuit of eternal truths and the lasting impact of moral and spiritual development. The mystical aspects of Masonry reveal a hidden world of symbols, rituals, and allegories that guide members on their personal journeys. When we look at African Masonry, we see unique traditions and interpretations that enrich the broader understanding of Masonic principles, emphasizing cultural diversity and shared human values. In our comparative study, we observe similarities and differences across various Masonic practices worldwide, which helps us appreciate the universal themes as well as regional expressions. Finally, in the conclusion, we tie everything together, highlighting how Masonry's core ideas of transformation, regeneration, and spiritual pursuit continue to inspire and resonate across different cultures and eras. This overall theme underscores Masonry's enduring relevance in our quest for truth and self-improvement. When we look at Masonry across different cultures, we see some fascinating similarities and differences. At its core, Masonry often revolves around themes of transformation and symbolism, which are universal ideas. However, the way these themes are expressed can vary greatly depending on the specific rituals and interpretations unique to each culture. These differences reflect the rich historical and spiritual contexts from which they emerge. Moving on, the spread of Masonic teachings is quite remarkable. These teachings have transcended cultural boundaries, influencing a wide range of spiritual traditions around the world. What's inspiring is how they promote core ideals like brotherhood, enlightenment, and personal growth, values that resonate across societies and continue to inspire positive change. Finally, local cultures play a significant role in shaping how Masonry is practiced. They do this by integrating regional beliefs, symbols, and rituals into their practices. This blending results in unique expressions of the fundamental themes of transmutation and regeneration, making each Masonic tradition a reflection of its specific cultural environment. All of these points connect back to our overall theme. Masonry is a dynamic, evolving tradition that bridges cultures through shared ideals while also celebrating local uniqueness. Let's explore how different Masonries around the world approach spiritual themes, specifically transmutation. This concept emphasizes the transformation of the individual, integrating spiritual growth with moral integrity. Despite cultural differences, many traditions share common themes of renewal and enlightenment, showing a universal desire for personal evolution. When we look at transmutation in a global context, we see that each Masonic tradition emphasizes unique practices for regeneration. These often involve a mix of spiritual rituals and symbolic teachings, all aimed at guiding members through personal transformation. It's fascinating how these diverse methods reflect different interpretations of what it means to evolve spiritually and even explore ideas of immortality within the craft. Speaking of immortality, variations in how Masonries view this concept are quite intriguing. Some traditions interpret it through reincarnation or spiritual evolution, suggesting that the soul continues its journey beyond physical life. Others focus more on achieving divine unity, emphasizing a connection with the divine as the ultimate form of immortality. These perspectives highlight the rich diversity rooted in different cultural and philosophical backgrounds, all contributing to the broader themes of renewal and enlightenment in Masonry. Now, let's delve into the core themes of Masonry as outlined in this slide. First, we have the introduction to Masonry itself, which serves as a foundation for understanding its deeper symbolic meanings. Moving on, the concept of transmutation is central. It's about transformation, both personal and spiritual, reflecting how we evolve through the craft. The theme of regeneration highlights renewal and rebirth, emphasizing the continual process of growth and improvement. The notion of immortality ties into the idea that the teachings and values of Masonry transcend individual life, offering a sense of enduring legacy. Next, we explore the mystical aspects of Masonry, which reveal its spiritual and esoteric dimensions beyond the physical. African Masonry introduces a rich cultural perspective, showing how these traditions intertwine with local histories and spiritual practices. The comparative study helps us see similarities and differences across various Masonic traditions worldwide, enriching our understanding of its universal principles. Finally, the conclusion brings everything together, reinforcing how these themes, transmutation, regeneration, immortality, and mysticism, interconnect to form the essence of Masonry. This overview reminds us that Masonry isn't just about building stones. It's about building character, spirit, and understanding the eternal truths that guide us. Let's take a moment to reflect on some of the core concepts we've discussed. The ideas of transmutation, regeneration, and immortality really embody the transformative journey of the soul. They reflect a deep connection to spiritual evolution and the ongoing pursuit of enlightenment within Masonry. These concepts remind us that our spiritual growth is a process of constant renewal and transcendence. Now, moving on to the importance of mysticism in Masonry. Mysticism offers profound insights into personal transformation. It helps us deepen our understanding of ourselves, enhances our spiritual development, and highlights the interconnectedness of all life. This interconnectedness underscores the idea that our journey isn't just individual. It's part of a larger, universal cycle of life and immortality. Finally, I want to touch on the significance of African influences in Masonry. These influences emphasize the interconnectedness of spiritual practices across different cultures. They highlight concepts like transmutation and regeneration as pathways to achieving immortality, showing us that these ideas are universal and shared across diverse traditions. Altogether, these key concepts, spiritual transformation, mysticism, and cultural influences, tie back to our overarching theme of spiritual evolution and the eternal quest for enlightenment. As we look to the future of Masonic practices, one of the key areas we'll continue to explore is spiritual science. This ongoing investigation helps us deepen our understanding of concepts like transmutation, regeneration, and even immortality. These ideas aren't just abstract. They have the potential to enhance both our personal growth and our collective development as a community. Another important aspect is the integration of global perspectives. By embracing diverse cultural and spiritual viewpoints, we foster a richer, more inclusive understanding of spirituality. This not only promotes unity among members worldwide, but also enriches our ceremonial experiences, making them more meaningful and resonant. Finally, I want to emphasize the importance of encouraging personal journeys within Masonry. Supporting each member's individual growth and spiritual exploration cultivates a deeper understanding of wisdom. When we nurture these personal paths, we strengthen our shared commitment to the principles of Masonry, ultimately shaping a more vibrant and forward-looking future for our practices. Thank you all for your attention throughout this presentation. As we reach the final slide, I want to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude. I truly appreciate the support and collaboration from everyone involved, which have been essential in bringing this project to life. The date, August 8th, 2025, marks a significant milestone for the Masonic audiobook library, and it's through your ongoing commitment that we've been able to achieve this. Thank you once again for your dedication and partnership.